Welcome back, everybody. It is spray weekend on the farm. We're gonna get all the corn sprayed for the food plots. Then we're gonna spray some of our trails, and we're gonna hit a few of our food plots that we're gonna be planting later on to Brassica in late July. We just want to get them knocked down right now, and then we'll have to give another application of glyphosate later on. But the corn, I want to wait to spray the corn until it's about this high and the weeds are up about 4 inches. The corn's up about 7 inches, and I got to get it sprayed right now, because if it gets any higher, then the Honda is going to be hitting the corn, and I want the Honda to drive over the corn without causing any problem. It actually looks like a Brassica. Look at that. That's a turnip that came back up. That's kind of odd. Maybe it was stuck in the Honda somewhere from spreading last year and it came out this spring. But we'll go ahead and get this sprayed and get after it. Well, everybody, I figured it was time to give you a little food plot update on the buckwheat and some of the spray jobs and some of my tree planting. So today we'll go through a bunch of that. We're at our upper farm here that I planted the buckwheat in the first week of June there. And the buckwheat came up really strong, and the deer absolutely hammered the buckwheat. And now we have a ton of weed competition, so the buckwheat didn't get up enough and get the canopy to suppress the weeds like I was hoping it would. It's just, as soon as the buckwheat grows, it gets ate. You can see, you know, all the white flowers in there is buckwheat, but everything else is weeds. I'll show you right here. You can kind of see how much this buckwheat is just getting. I mean, it's all just nipped. Right there at the top, right here, right there, right there, right there. I mean, you're hard pressed to even find buckwheat in here that hasn't been nipped by deer. You know, the plan was up here to use the buckwheat, and I was going to plant right into the buckwheat with Brassica in late July, terminate it with glyphosate, and then crimp it and roll it. But what's gonna happen up here is I'll have to do it the traditional way and plow it, disc it, cold pack it, plant it, you know, how I normally do. Either way, it wasn't a failure. You know, the deer had really good feed all summer out here, and the buckwheat's good for the soil. So we'll roll it all under in late July, and all's well that ends well. The other buckwheat plot that I'm going to show you here in a little bit looks really, really good, and I'm going to be able to do the no-till application on that one. It came up really thick, hardly any weed competition, so we're going to be able to experiment with a no-till application on that one. This is a white oak that I've got planted here that's growing really well. You can see all the leaves in there. It's a little over halfway up the tube now. I came in here and cleaned a bunch of brush out. This was all real thick brush around here, and I took out all this tree's competition around here, and then I sprayed glyphosate right here. So shouldn't have any issue with, ooh, there's a fresh woodchuck hole right there. Real fresh woodchuck hole. We don't want that. I'm gonna have a corn plot up here this year. There's the shanty that we rifle hunt out of right there. And then down in the strip, I'm gonna have planted the Brassica. I sprayed that with glyphosate a few weeks ago. Let's go down and check that out and see how it's doing. Well, you can see my application of glyphosate really killed everything off in here. Everything's super dead, which is what we want. The trees, my sawtooth oaks, and I've got some chestnut trees down here that are doing pretty good. Those trees over there are almost out of their tubes already. Let's go look at the corn and buckwheat plot on the other side of this brush over here. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention too is this apple tree is going to be loaded this year with apples. If you look in there, I don't know how well you can see them, but there's a lot of apples in there. You can see the buckwheat did a lot better over here. So this is where the standing corn was last year, which is now all buckwheat. And all the standing corn is planted where all the soybeans were last year. The corn's looking really good. There's a spring that comes out over there in the middle that didn't fare too well, but otherwise it all looks really good. And this buckwheat, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna spread Brassica into it in late July. We're gonna hit it with glyphosate and then roll it, and we're gonna see how it does. This is the first time I've ever tried this, so it'll be kind of an experiment. We'll go over here and I'll show you my plot screen. It looks like absolute crap. This is my worst, probably my worst ever attempt at planting anything in my life. Scout, Scout, come on. So this is Northwood's whitetail plot screen. It kind of looks like corn coming up a little bit, but it's not. This stuff was supposed to grow about 8 foot tall, is what they say. 6 to 8 feet, which is incredible, but it just looks like absolute crap. I don't know what I did wrong or anything, but you know, the grass is, it took so long for it to come up that all the grass and everything could establish themselves before the plot screen could. You can see where, you know, it's coming up in here, but it just, unless it skyrockets in the next couple months here, we're not gonna have much for plot screen. If you look all the way down there, you can see it, you know, periodically coming up in there, but not impressed at all. I fertilized it and, you know, I thought I had a good planting of it. Not so much. The whole right side I planted a bunch of switchgrass, and I don't know if that's really growing either. It just, everything kind of looks like grass, so I can't really tell the difference, but we'll see. Maybe I should just stick with corn, soybeans, and brassica.